Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. Today, I want to take you on a journey, not through a place you can find on a map, but through a moment, a single act of kindness. Picture yourself at the edge of a perfectly still pond. It's early morning and the air is cool, just on the edge of waking. The water is glass. The world feels like it's holding its breath. In your hand, you hold a single act of kindness. It could be anything, a word, a gesture, a choice to help when you could have turned away. It doesn't seem heavy. In fact, it's so small that you wonder if it could really matter at all. You bend down and you let it fall into the water. The surface trembles. A ripple begins. Most people turn away at this point. They never see where their kindness goes, how far it travels, or who it reaches. But today we're going to follow it. The first ring moves outward, touching a man at a coffee shop. He's had one of those weeks where everything feels just slightly too much. Emails stacking up, a car repair he can't afford, a lingering ache in his chest he hasn't told anyone about. He's on autopilot until the person ahead of him pays for his coffee. They smile. He smiles back, surprised at how good it feels. The ripple has reached him. He carries that lightness to the park later that afternoon. There, he passes a teenage girl sitting alone on a bench. She's fighting her own battles. Bullies at school, an emptiness she can't quite name. The man doesn't know her, but something inside nudges him. He sits down a few feet away and simply says, "Nice day, isn't it?" The girl looks up, startled, then nods. They talk. She laughs once, just a quick sound. But it's the first time in weeks that she's felt like she might belong here. The ripple moves on. Years pass. Years. That girl grows into a young woman, then into a teacher. One day she notices a boy in her class who's slipping away, missing homework, hiding in the back, eyes always cast downward. She remembers what it felt like to be on that bench, waiting for someone to notice. So she stays after school and asks him to help her clean up the classroom. They talk. She tells him he matters. He believes her, maybe for the first time in his life. Then that boy grows up to become a paramedic. He's good at it. Calm under pressure, steady hands, a kind voice in chaos. And one night, years later, he saves the life of a woman who had no one else nearby to help. When he goes home, he thinks of it as just another shift. He doesn't realize that the chain that led him there began decades earlier with you at that pond, letting kindness fall into the water. But the ripple doesn't stop there. the woman he saved recovers and goes on to start a community garden. And in that garden, a little boy learns how to plant seeds. He grows up to become an environmental scientist who helps restore entire ecosystems. His work leads to reforestation efforts in areas that had been barren for decades. One of those forests will stand for hundreds of years. Now think about that. Hundreds of years. Generations later, children will play beneath those trees. A couple will meet there. Someone will find shelter there during a storm. And the shade from those trees will save lives during heat waves in a future that you'll never see. And still, the ripple continues. All from you standing there doing your one good thing. Because here's the truth. Once you set kindness in motion, you don't own it anymore. It becomes part of a living thread that weaves through people, places, and times you will never touch directly. It belongs and becomes the world's. So often we tell ourselves that the small things don't matter, that if we can't change everything, maybe we shouldn't try to change anything. But the ripple reminds us that every single action, every gentle word, every patient moment, every choice to love instead of fear moves outward. Sometimes in ways we'll notice, sometimes in ways we'll never even imagine. If you could ride that ripple, if you could watch it pass from person to person, life to life, you'd see that no act of kindness is ever wasted. Not one. This week, I invite you to follow your ripple in your mind. When you offer help, imagine where it will travel. You have an imagination. When you encourage someone, picture the next person they might encourage. When you forgive, imagine who they will forgive because you showed them that it was possible. We are all threads in a tapestry so much bigger than ourselves. And every ripple of love that you send out is another stitch holding that tapestry together. Stronger, brighter, and more beautiful than before. Let's keep the water moving, guys. Let's see just how far this ripple can go. I love you all very, very much. And you know what I need you to do. Pass that on, would you? Talk to you later. Later, Gators. Bye.
Every story, every